Buzz in progress, black and white, coming around for another circling around the area. Turns off just before he flies over. Yeah, must be a criminal in this area. So your taxes can pay for this helicopter to circle around on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday afternoon here in sunny Southern California. Your taxes for police helicopters. There he goes. Well, I'm sure he got him. No matter who it was, I'm sure he intimidated him.
You know, I realize there's such a thing as having a bad day for no reason, but I had to think that that last gang stalking report that I uploaded really pissed off Satan, because today, on the 12th of February, boy, everybody that I ran into practically is giving me crap to my face and like whistling and you know, like disrespecting, or you know, just like being against me. You can feel them coming against me. It's really weird. And you know, I've reported all this before. I mean, I've got that in some respect all my life, you know, but I definitely noticed a pickup in the activity of that right after an upload, and I think this one was a beauty. Occasionally I'll make an upload that just really pisses off Satan, and boy, you can feel it living in the people that are around. And boy, I've just got like, it's just like one thing after another today, just boom, 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 like whoa, on the attack.
Just like the wide-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Okay, so I was thinking of a kind of punishment for people who do false news. And at first I was thinking, okay, you know, there's the usual hanging, stoning, but if you don't want to go that far, if you want to go for something a little bit less permanent, okay, I was thinking like tomato, you know, tie these people up, and it's a, you know, public thing, and everybody can go out with their tomatoes or eggs or whatever and blast them. But then I was thinking, nah, that's a waste of good tomatoes and eggs. What we should use is fresh shit. So whether it's dog shit or your own shit, you take it up in a bag, you take your own shit in a bag, and then you show up at the town square where the person caught doing fake news is, and you hurl shit at them like an ape. I think the apes have it good. You just take a shit right in your hand and throw it at somebody you don't like. We'll call it public ape shit. Now I'm talking about actually tying people up in the town square, and everybody comes and throws shit at them. But what I was thinking was, it should be real bullshit. Okay, so I mean, you can bring your own shit if you want. That's kind of nasty. But what they'll have is real bullshit vendors right there at the town square where the guy's tied up to a pole, and you can just buy your own bullshit and throw it at the fake newser. How about that? I mean, it could start a whole new public field of business, you know, bullshit vendors. But I was thinking that the people who are hurt by the bullshit in particular, like victims, whoever they lied about, they get a special stand where they can stand up close and throw the shit right in the person's face. So I wanted to say it again, that I have had encounters face to face with police, and the expression that they gave me, and this is separate from my April 2016, or actually it's 2013, April 2013, when the 4 policemen showed up at my door shortly after I started uploading these reptilian shapeshifter studies on YouTube. But I have had, since after that time, I've had a couple of face-to-face encounters, and not that they said anything, but like I'm thinking of this one in particular, this guy in a convenience store, and he was a LAPD officer, and he gave me this look like he couldn't believe the injustice of my existence. He gave me that look like he just can't understand why I'm still alive after doing what I've done. Like my existence is a travesty, you know. It's a crime against, you know, it shouldn't be, you know, that I'm still living after that, you know, or free after that, you know, because if they can't kill you, maybe they can throw you in jail or put you in a psych ward or something else, like they did to Christian Kunimi frequency fence. And from there, you know, you got to take your medication, which probably destroys your mind. And then that's why when he came back 3.5 years later, I'm talking about Christian Kunimi, a frequency fence, then your everything that you do after that point, because your brain is fried, will discredit all your previous work, and then you'll look crazy.
Okay guys, so you can see I've been living it up a little bit lately. So I hope you'll forgive me for stuffing my pocket with righteous dollar bills, like that song.
You know, I was thinking about time travel. Psalm 12:6. The words of the Lord are pure words, purified as in a furnace of earth. So, the 7 times is, I believe, the 7,000-year plan of God. Now, somebody more scientific might add up that times is referring to 1,000 years. So that would be the 1,000-year, the 7,000-year plan that's covered in prophecy, which is basically the whole Bible. But what I'm saying here is that the time travel is indicated by the fact that also God says concerning Babylon and other things, I believe, but in particular I know about Babylon, I have done it. See, he says, I have done it. It's already been done. And so the interesting thing we can take away is that this scripture is telling us that the scripture itself is written, refined 7 times. So if it's purified, that is perfected, after the 7,000 years, it means that although we are experiencing what is written therein, it's actually a document from the future. And that means that God must have control over the exact events, how they occur. But that refined means that it may, you know, there may be a parallel timeline kind of element to it, or a repeating sort of situation where history was actually refined through several times or multiple tries at it or something like that. You know, I'm just giving a broad speculation, but the interesting point is that God is saying, I have done it. You see, he can prophesy in the future. He gives it to the prophets, inspired by the Holy Ghost, as is written, to state what he has already concluded, already knows for sure is going to happen, via, you might say, time travel, because that document is from the future, refined 7 times. That means it's coming from after the 7,000 years. And understand, that we're just reaching the end of 6,000 years. So there's a whole another 1,000 years to complete the 7,000 years. So it's that document is from at least 1,000 years into the future. Helicopter approaching. Gotta time it so just for when I want to cross the street. Here it comes. Silver and blue LAPD. Chances are he's aware of me. See if it shows up on the video. Would it be a close-up of not looking at me? If you're an anime fan and you like high-tech action anime, you might have seen the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. And so that series has this one episode where they are tracking this guy who's supposed to be a terrorist. Okay, so they know that he's got this whole elaborate plan. They know about the plan from some kind of intel. And you don't know where they're getting the intel. And then at the very end, they finally get the guy. They corner him, and they get him. And it turns out he's the helicopter pilot for, or shuttlecraft pilot for this one official. And what it turns out is that the intel was from a mind-reading device, and this mind-reading device saw that this guy who was just a shuttle pilot had this whole terrorist plan out in his mind. He planned it out, but it was really all in his mind. He didn't actually prepare any weapons or anything. And so I was thinking that is actually a reflection, or a what you might call soft disclosure through the demonic realm, that they have this technology, and I can confirm that they do. I can't prove it, but I can tell you that I can tell you this: why I came to a solid conclusion about it, which is that when they were targeting me, and they have calmed down a bit from this arrival home buzz they would do, but they would time it so that a helicopter comes buzzing overhead right as I reached the door. And I think the reason they had to stop was because I was filming as I would get out of my car and walk out towards the door, and it was too obvious. People could see very clearly that it's unusual. Why would a helicopter be flying over this guy's head just right when he comes home? And so they might believe me that it's a psychological warfare gang stalking tactic. So that's why I believe that they do in fact have this mind-reading technology, because it's just too difficult to get a real helicopter out in that kind of timing, so that it's timed right, for instance, as I come to my door, or right as I'm leaving a business establishment. Really, I mean, they could do it in some cases, like if they have a helicopter already flying around that's paid for and everything, and they got it assigned to somebody that's a high priority target. Because as you know, I think they do have real helicopters and they are flying around, but you cannot tell the difference between those and the holograms. So they do in fact have this holographic technology, and then it is. But the point I was making with the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, kind of like a OAV, TV series type thing, spin-off of the great movie Ghost in the Shell, and that movie, I think, that episode is kind of like a soft disclosure of the phenomena where they read your mind. And a lot of times I've had like a violent thought. Like this one guy started a fight with me in the Starbucks, and it almost turned into a fist fight. And then later on, I was walking along the sidewalk, and I just had this thought in my mind of running him over with my car. And right as I had that thought, I got buzzed. Helicopter just flies over here, And so stuff like that is an example of what I think is mind-reading technology. Okay, I've got a question here. Here's this movie on Edge of Wonder, and we got David Wilcock, Alliance versus Deep State, the final showdown, and so I'm watching this 4 hours after it was posted. And now here's what I don't get. Okay, he's talking about Trump, okay, as the less than perfect good guys, okay, and And what I don't get is, if Trump is this less than perfect good guy, how is it that he is continuing the imperialist wars that he swore he wouldn't, that he campaigned on that he wouldn't, and he's even threatening military intervention in Venezuela? So, we know that this is a coup and it's total BS. So, I mean, but that's my question: is how can this be real? And because I listened to this, and what David Wilcock was saying was that it's basically, no one's perfectly clean, and the reason why this hasn't come out is he's saying that they've closed down, like they arrested 1,500 people, they got 500 convictions, and they shut down like something like, I don't know how many, a bunch of them, like over 40 different organizations of child sex ring, okay? And they're complaining that the press hasn't reported this, and that's why no one's heard about it. But my question is, who have they arrested? I mean, how can they keep this quiet? If that many people did actually get arrested, was it anybody we know? That's the thing. I mean, how can we trust what they're saying about it? It's not a shred of proof. Is there one person that we can talk to that knows somebody that was arrested, or knows where they are, who they are? Is it anybody like Clinton or Obama or the Bushes, or any of their subordinates, or somebody that we know? This is all just what David Wilcock is saying that they posted at their at the Trump website. And what Trump and other people have tweeted out, and then what this fellow Q, this anonymous Q guy on the internet says. So I just, what I'm thinking is, okay, maybe it's true. Like, I would like to think it was true, but what I just got to say it again, is that why? How can we trust any of this going on? Buzz in progress, buzz in progress. Just getting ready to leave here. And also I was thinking about the abduction thing, and about how this guy Ray Hernandez is really full of it. Direct overhead, black and white LAPD, your taxes for gang stalking harassment using LAPD aerial vehicles. Your taxes for uploading proof of non-humans to YouTube, so that you can be aware of our fallen angel overlords. I was listening to this guy, Ray Hernandez, who is an abductee or experiencer, and he has a study called the Freeman or the Free Group. I forget exactly what it is. Anyway, it's a comprehensive collection and study of the UFO abduction experience, and he is asserting one of the key figures that he released was that 80% of abductees say that they would not discontinue their experience with these non-humans, or whatever it is, their abduction experience, whether they're humans, MyLabs, whatever, Greys, reptilians. But now, when I was listening to this guy, Ray Hernandez, I want to do a little bit more on this in depth, but I tell you, for the first 20 minutes listening to this guy, I was impressed. I'm thinking to myself, hey man, this guy is, he's really got credentials, and he's speaking clearly about this and giving facts and figures, which I like and respect when I'm trying to decide, who to trust on all this very confusing, very troubling stuff like alien abduction, which is why I like Dr. David Jacobs as my number one pick. But if you listen to this Ray Hernandez guy, I saw there was 4 times in which he totally poo-pooed Dr. David Jacobs. I mean, completely just, debunking him, saying, oh, I would even, I'd go so far as to even talk to David Jacobs, even he gets an email, And it's just, and then the more I listened, the more I realized, wait a minute. See, because I did my own research into this, which basically was researching the top experiencers and or researchers on this, Carla Turner, Bud Hopkins, John Mack, Jacques Vallée, and Dr. David Jacobs, and also people like Barbara Lamb and Mary Rodwell. And what I realized looking at all this was that there's a common sense question of if the word abduction means being taken without your, not only without your consent, but you have no control or say over it, whether you're positive or negative about it. And there's plenty of people who report something negative. Now, I am inclined to believe Ray Hernandez, who in his study says that the majority of people are in favor of their abductors, okay, or whatever their experience is, and they would not discontinue. However, again, the common sense question: if what they're doing is good and just and right and something that humans would accept if they could see what all it is they're doing, why is it that it has to be forced abductions and memory wipes, which is very clear? I mean, even the people that are speaking positive, they say, yeah, I only remember part of it, and that's what they report. This lady on the show I was watching, the reason I'm talking about this is because I was watching the Chris Turner special recently on alien abduction on Human TV, but he's in that report you hear Satch, Marie Satch, I forget the full name, I'll put it up on the screen as I'm doing this, but she is a reptilian shapeshifter. I mean, that's, and I'm interested to see, if she could elaborate a little bit more on that. I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe the only way she would talk to him is if he agreed not to ask or, talk about the fact that she got taken to an underground base and they injected her with something and she turned into a large female reptoid with psychic powers and escaped out of their grasp and everything. And it was a really interesting story. But, she was saying that, her view about the abductors is that they're positive, and that she had an amazingly wonderful, beautiful experience in which these 4 grays or whatever came around and touched her, and then she knew everything about the universe. Okay, everything, knew absolutely everything. And but I still don't understand if their agenda is good, if what they're doing is good. Why do they need to wipe memory? Why do they need to take you without your consent? Why is it forced? Why did Dr. David Jacobs uncover that? And it's every reason to believe, because it was a numbered, classified, what I mean by classified is listed, scientific study showing that people get screen memories wiped over their traumatic experiences. So they thought that they had a wonderful experience, and there was this wonderful Nordic with beautiful blonde hair, and it was all hunky-dory, and they were very loving, and they were telling her to take care of the planet, and you get that a lot, take care of the planet, you need to take care of the planet and love each other, and like Ray Hernandez was saying, 80% of the people that come back from these experiences are more loving, more conscious. They are for helping people. They are for they're against war and materialism and all this stuff, and they're very spiritually minded. Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe and that there is, let's say there is a good and positive agenda going on with these non-humans or whatever that they're being abducted by. How is it that they need one and all to wipe your memory? And not only that, put screen memory over it. And not only that, but the abductions have to be abductions. They can't just come and say, yes, come on, let's get on the UFO. We're going to do our medical experiments. Humans are just too stupid to handle that. They couldn't just, wait for their permission or, talk to them and say, hey, look, this is what we're doing and this is why, do you accept it? Yes or no? And Satch, she was saying that when she had that wonderful experience with these beings, that she realized, they do have the right to do this. Well, I would just be a little bit skeptical. Well, wait a minute. If they can screen memories and make people think that they had a positive experience, but in a regression, they suddenly remember, no, it wasn't a positive, it was very, very horrible and painful. How do they know that the positive memories and experiences that they have that give them a positive view of these beings isn't in fact mind control?
This is a buzz. This is a buzz. They are hot on my tail today. Here we go. This is a buzz. This is a buzz. Locational buzz. Locational buzz. Using. Can't see from the viewfinder. Looks like it's one of those unmarked black and whites for uploading reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube, showing our non-human fallen angel overlords. That's what I think these things are, friends. They are fallen angel beasts that are seeking to reclaim their humanity and trying to shut people up like me who are exposing what they're trying to do.
Okay, now look here in Luke 10:19. It says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." Now, I think that this is telling us several things, but I want to comment on the last part, which is that if it says nothing shall by any means hurt you, it means these things can hurt people. Okay? This is talking to Christians. That's how we know this is the missing link in ufology. Okay? Ufology won't even come close to mentioning heaven and hell. And as long as you exclude those elements as, oh, that's religious, pie in the sky, illogical stuff, we're not going to, this is ufology, this is true science, this is true exploration, we're not going to look at, religious dogma that closes people's minds, and I know it does close people's minds. But on the other hand, if you're wondering what these things are, this alien abduction, I believe that this is the missing link. These are devils. These are fallen angels. They had a human form. They look like us, except with wings. Literally, that's what these beings were. And it seems like, no, that's too outlandish, it doesn't work. Human beings can have wings on their back and so forth. But I think we're talking about a different kind of reality. But still, that's what these beings were. They were beautiful. They were human. And we know that they were beautiful also because the devil, Satan, was supposedly very beautiful because, what do we know from Ezekiel? His heart was lifted up because of his beauty. And so also I think that these fallen angels on the whole were, in fact, beautiful, human-appearing beings. And they instantly were turned into beasts. I don't think it was some gradual evolution. I think that what happens is, in God's kingdom, or God turns them into, however it works, but they turn into these beasts, as we see depicted in Egyptian paintings, like the hieroglyphs. The ones with the dog head, the bird head, the alligator head. In Genesis, when God says to the serpent, "You are cursed above all the other beasts of the field." When we hear about these different alien types, whether it's the wolf aliens, I had one of those contact me, he was very intelligent, and I was convinced he was the real thing, or whether it's serpents, reptilians of various kinds, aquatic, all these other beasts, I think that these are descendants of, either descendants or they are created separately. But the important thing about this abduction is, I don't think that they can operate in the Earth's sphere and have anything to do with humans and get anywhere even close to making it in unless they have the consent of Satan, a particular giant reptile, former angel. You see, the fallen angel. These abductions and the people that are speaking positively about them, they might be multi-generational hybrids that have succeeded in at least maintaining some of their human form, and that's part of why they are positive towards these abductions, even though they're against their will, they have no choice, and their memories are wiped, and there's all kinds of stuff that they're subjected to that they don't have any say in. So I think that that is the missing puzzle here. When when I get, and I don't like these closed-minded Christians either, because they get closed-minded. They say ridiculous things like the Earth is flat, and there's no space, space is a lie, and all that. But on the other hand, these Christians that are saying that there's all these so-called aliens are nothing but fallen angels, or nothing but devils or whatever. You know, they're all from hell, or they're all devils or whatever. They're all associated with Satan. I think that there is some truth to that. I think that the ones, you know, it doesn't make sense to me that the entire population of the cosmos is evil fallen angels that, you know, are just associated with Satan and they're all just wicked. That could be the case. Or there's no cosmos and space is all a lie, but we don't know. And I would say it's a lot more likely, especially because of the visions that Jesus Christ personally, in person, gave to Bill Weiss, and also the testimony of Ken Peters in his vision, talking about how God showed him the universe and how vast it is, and all these different beings, all the stuff going on. And because Bill Weiss, William Weiss in particular, to see his testimony, it's called 23 Hours in Hell. And it's a fascinating testimony, but one of the things he says is that he was interested in space exploration and extraterrestrial contact all his life as a kid. It's just something he really loved, something he was really passionate about. And he said that Jesus knew that. So he took him above the earth, showed him the earth, and he says it was just amazing, the spinning ball, and that, you know, and so, and the oceans are, you know, how it's all held in place. But more importantly, he said he showed him the universe and how vast it was, and all the different beings on these countless other planets, just jillions and jillions of them, and all these beings on them. And he says he was in control of all of it. And William Weiss said that God gave him a glimpse of his power, about how he let him feel his power, about how he controlled the entirety of it all the stuff going on all those planets and out in space and everything, just like Star Wars talking about the Force. You know, the Force is all binding, it's all controlling. It's a good metaphor for God, except I think that maybe it gets distracted from the real God, who is a person, I believe, even though he's, you know, beyond our comprehension. But at least at some respects, he's ever present. He's not a God far off. He says he's a God close at hand. Right now, in this moment with you, there is a God, a God who is the same God who controls everything in the universe, and he has enough ability to split his attention into so many different pieces simultaneously that he can be there with you and know and be in control of everything that's going on in that moment around you. These people that are talking about alien abduction and are, you know, not using the common sense that if you're being abducted and they're hiding it from people and they're hiding it from the general population. And the other thing that doesn't make sense is if there are some, if there's a varied agenda, let's say, and I think it is a logical thing to say that you can't say that all humans have the same agenda. There's some bad, some good. So why not extraterrestrials, of which there's countless other different types? Why not some of them being friendly and some of them not so friendly? And so there's a variety of, you know, good ones and there's bad ones. But if there's good ones, the question remains, how come some of them don't tell some of their abductees what they're doing, why they're doing it, let them keep the memory, let them have a choice, and also be open and honest with themselves and the population of Earth? I mean, if they are really good, why wouldn't they tell humans that they're being used by some other evil ones just so that it would make humans in general aware? How hard would it be? You see, the excuse that Ray Hernandez used is that human beings kill so many millions of people every year in war or whatever, blah, 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 and that's why they don't come and land on the White House lawn. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't very easily meet with me or other people like Carrie Cassidy, or, you know, she'd be a lot better with her, or somebody, you know, some of these people, or a news crew or whatever, introduce themselves and say, hey, we're aliens, Zeta something or other, and, you know, Greys this or that, or, you know, good reptilians this or that. And, yeah, we just wanted to, you know, introduce ourselves to you so that you know that you have other intelligent beings out there, and that we have, you know, and that there's certain things we got going on here on Earth. But, and then also, you know, we'll give you some information about, like, for instance, there's some ones that are not so nice to you guys and that are eating you. Yeah, you know, perdition of humans, okay? See, so the conclusion that I come to is that if there are a variety of extraterrestrials, and I think that there are, that'd be my guess, but the only ones that are allowed to operate in the earth have to be allied with Satan. They have to have the permission of the king of Babylon, the king of America, the ruler of the earth. Friends, if you're listening to this, you got to realize something about what's going on with our planet. It's a worldwide domination by evil, fallen angel beasts that do not have our best interest at heart. They want to drag you down to hell and destroy you and take the earth for themselves. And they are somehow, even though they believe in God, they fear God and tremble, but they are also rebels, and they hate God, and they'll fight him to the day they die, and they're trying to take every last soul that they can with them. When they sent these assassins to kill me, and they were killed, and then I thought about that situation and meditated on it and just let it resonate in my consciousness, I realized about this. The reason they're buzzing me with all these helicopters for doing this and not just killing me or doing something, I mean, coming and, they could shut me up so many easy ways. They could take my computer, they could take my RV, I would have nothing, I'd be out on the street with a shopping cart, I couldn't make movies, I couldn't continue to upload information, they could delete my YouTube account. There's many ways they could shut me up, besides, constantly risking the public and everybody seeing my videos and all this stuff going on that I've showed you. What I realized about all this is that this is an under control situation. That's what ufology is missing. They don't realize that it is an under control by God situation. These devils, fallen angels, beasts, non-humans, aliens, okay, whatever category they're in, I think there's all different categories, it's very confusing, but the bottom line to it is that the abductions anyway are, I think, an attempt of these beasts to reclaim their humanity, because they want to return to the state that is closest to what they were before. Remember, God says in Genesis to the serpent, you are cursed above all the other beasts of the field. By the way, beasts of the field shows up 29 times in the Old Testament. It is in fact a term, I believe, for these non-humans, and they are from off-world, and also from they're also extra-dimensional. They could be both. In fact, that could be what it all is. They are extraterrestrial, but it's actually they're all from another dimension. But I don't think so, because people are having physical encounters, and the scripture also says in Jeremiah 31:27, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah." That means the Jews, at least. And I think male and female, by the way, if you want to know what the Judah and the house of Israel, I think that's the men and the women. But in any case, he's going to, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast." And at the very least, that means that they are physical beings that we're going to see and we're going to know. And I think for right now, they can't come out for what, I mean, there's the obvious reason that humans will probably kill them once they realize what's going on with the evil ones. So even the good ones can't come out. Who knows? But that would be my guess, because these are physical beings that are living among us. So if you're saying, well, how come you're only making movies about the demonic distortion? Somebody was complaining. Well, and I'm not talking about the beasts that are living among us. Well, most of the footage that I've gotten, I believe, is demonic distortion. I think even Keanu's claw and Harrison Ford's horny forehead, the four horns that are coming out on the sides, because I got them on myself. But to a lesser extent, but still we could see light and shadow even with myself, with the self-demonic distortion. So I think that those even are demonic distortion. However, there are some captures, like for instance the African-American news reporter who's talking, standing by that fence, and then he goes, "Oh gosh, dang it!" And you see his tongue come out. It's definitely a forked tongue. That I think is a physical shapeshifter capture, and there's others. Eyes, there's some good ones with the eyes shape-shifting and so forth, and that one with the Queen is particularly telling. I mean, that one is really, that's one of the clearest examples, and their own, the British, the English royal website even has a article telling that they had up for a little while, and somebody took a screenshot of it, and I dissected it, and it says that it was a thing telling their subjects to calm down because they saw the queen turn into a different form. Please don't be upset. She's still our queen, and and she cares about her subjects and everything, and we know that everybody will come to accept her for what she is, blah blah blah, So that tells us that we got physical beasts living among us. But the story is, I mean, the plot that I think ufology is totally missing here is that if this is an under control situation, and we got heaven and hell resulting from death, and don't think it's some old cliche, old-fashioned Bible thumping, cud chewing, church attending Christians talking about heaven and hell. Well, I got a little news for you. That whole story about heaven and hell looks like it's real. From the research I've done, just go YouTube hell witness, YouTube heaven witness. There's just too many people saying that they've seen something for it to be a delusion. And the witnesses of hell, varied as they are, also tend to match more than they don't match. And so to eliminate that from the mix of understanding what this alien abduction is, why are they taking people against their will, wiping their memories, and you have screen memories, positive memories built on top of negative memories, and implanting women with fetuses, and then abducting the women and taking them to care for the fetuses so that they can have human contact, because the aliens don't have human love and touch. And they need that to grow up right, according to the aliens. And this is from different quarters that you hear. There's people who are abducted and taken aboard craft so that they can raise and touch and be with like human mothers to these hybrid children. And I think what the whole hybrid program is, and all the abduction and the whole fascination with all this stuff, for the most part, there's probably other purposes as well. But I think the main purpose is the insectoid program, because I don't think the reptilians have it as much. The reptilians, because they're partners with the insectoids, serpents and scorpions, remember, all the power of the enemy, they will probably try to benefit from, probably have an agreement or whatever to benefit from the hybridization work of the insectoids, because they have this technology, the biotech. And they are trying to make a human insectoid hybrid that can still house the soul of a insectoid and or reptilian or other non-human. They're trying to unlock the mysteries of the universe and see if they they may themselves not even be fully aware of it, or the different program compartmentalization or whatever. But I'm just giving you my guess, which is that it's all about getting back into their original form. They're trying to find a way to be human again, or to appear human, or something like human, because deep down they know that they once were humans, they once were angelic, they once were godlike in appearance, but then they were turned into these various beasts with various degrees of a curse. And the reptilians have the worst curse of all, but they're also the most powerful and in charge of all the main stuff in the earth. That's why Satan, a reptilian, is the current king of the world by being king of Babylon, America. But as the scripture tells us, God is going to put it into the hearts of the nations. He's already put it into the heart, I believe, at the north country that's going to gather together the nations that are going to come against America. It's got to be Russia. I doubt if it's China. Could be China, but I think it's Russia, and they're going to be partners with China and the other nations that agree that they got to put an end to America, because it's just time. They've had enough. They've had enough of our evil regime changing. They've had enough of our murdering and destroying other countries and oppressing and just the constant evil spewing from the porn industry. It's right down the street over here from where I live. And all this stuff going on is finally going to build up. And like that pastor, Dmitry Duduman, said, he said that I'm telling you, America's going to burn. The angels told him. He says many times, says, America's going to burn. I'm telling you right now, America's going to burn. It's just a matter of time. And I would have bailed myself. I would have gotten out of here, but I got a specific message saying that there's something that I got to finish here, and then I can move on. So we'll see.